Hey everyone, it's Jeff, LA Fintech, and these are some of the award winners from 2019. We're gonna ask them a few questions. They're gonna talk about their business, and we're going to go straight into trends. So let's hear it for Uulala.
Well, actually, we're coming from the Uulala corporate headquarters, so we have quite a big space over here in Ontario, California. But Uulala, when we created Uulala, we used fintech and blockchain technology in order to solve the problem of the unbanked. And unlike other companies like PayPal or Venmo that they believe that they were servicing the unbanked, one of the biggest problems with wallets is that you need a bank account to fund those wallets. So what we ended up doing is creating our own banking platform where we actually issue digital bank accounts to unbanked individuals by servicing the companies that work with them. So one of our best and the biggest client that I appreciate right now is working with the Vatican themselves. We just came back from Rome, and we just won the Vatican's Laudato Si Challenge for Business Impact of the Year. And basically what that means is that we're a humanitarian business model. What we do is we lower fees. We actually donate money to humanitarian causes that will actually help people get out of poverty. And the whole goal is for us to service, institutions like the Vatican or large businesses that have 100,000, 200,000, a million users. The majority of them will be unbanked in Latin America, and we will actually issue them a digital bank account so they can become part of the formal economy. So, we're going to be at the United Nations next week, so we're going to have a lot more, announcements to actually give, because we're actually filming our software being used by refugees, getting out of poverty, and then we're going to launch that film, that documentary in Netflix or IMDb.
Cool.
So that's what we're doing.
Right on.
Beautiful.
So let's hear it for Prodoge.
Okay, you want an update, Jeff? So let's see. Yeah, things are going well. We have something like 2,000 accounts now, and you can call it, we're in an iterative, quiet phase where we've got a whole new redesign which will be released next year. We'll be on the Shopify platform. Merchants will be able to export data to all sorts of accounting programs via Zapier integration. We'll be setting up, and we are setting up full nodes for Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Digibyte, and others to increase the confirmation speeds. And we've also done a lot of back-end admin work. So we've really been just trying to tighten up our shop and unify our product as well, and add the features that people want, so that we'll be in a position next year to really hopefully start marketing and adding more users.
Cool. Right on.
Awesome, man. I can start. So Savely is actually a platform that we created a couple of years ago, and the reason why we created it is because right now there's a big problem with people not achieving their financial goals. And I mean, we all know it. People just have these big grandiose ideas in their heads, like I want to travel, I want to buy a car, I want to buy a house, I want to do all of these things. But it's very rare that people actually accomplish those things in a timely manner, or without getting themselves into too much debt, unnecessary debt. So I come from a banking background. I've been working at Chase my whole life, and I learned exactly the things that I had to do for them to get them to reach their goals. And then what we've done is we've in essence created a platform that gives you that personal financial banker that walks you through the whole process of creating a travel goal. We pick travel as our first initial goal. Starts with telling you what you need to do, how much you need to save, calculates that goal for you, and then allows you to connect your bank account and start saving towards this specific goal. We've had a soft launch about 2 months ago. We've learned a lot from our users. We reiterated, and we just recently pushed out our version 2 with a bunch of minor and a lot of major improvements. About 2 days ago, we're just keep pushing and pushing, and that's what we are. I'm happy to be here.
Cool. Right on. Thanks a lot for sharing everything. So I know each of you guys have a different little niche in the fintech space. Maybe give some of the audience basically a rundown on like what you think some of the trends are in the next couple years for like either 2020 or even further out on some of the trends that you see in your specific sector in the fintech side. So anyone can start up.
Well, I'll start on the Uulala sector because it seems like we're the beginning of everybody else's platform, right? We're first and foremost converting someone who doesn't exist in the financial platform and getting them to exist in the financial platform. And what we've noticed is that there's been an influx of investments going into Latin America right now. There's actually companies that have never been inside of Mexico themselves that just raised $50 million. So you have to look at where people believe the next upcoming boom is going to be, and it's obvious it's still fintech. It's obvious it's still getting into a whole scenario of financial inclusion. So in our space, for instance, if we can formalize our ideas of digitizing cash in 3 different ways, then that whole fintech boom continues, right? Once you establish someone that's normal, then other financial technology products can help them increase their flow, right? But first is get out of poverty, get food, get consistency, with shelter and food, get a job, and then start making money and using other platforms. But I believe Latin America is going to be a huge, huge market for this fintech world.
Mm-hmm.
I can go next if you want. For us, what we've noticed is that there's a lot of uncertainty in the global politics, especially with the U.S.-China relationships, some of the attacks in France and Britain, Brexit. So a lot of the travel industry itself is going to be it's going to go through some minor to major changes, and we just have to figure out what we can do to position ourselves in a way that we mitigate some of that travel-related risk. But we think that type of a risk, if there is no concrete U.S.-China deal that's made, I think they came up with like a version 1 of that deal last night or yesterday morning. We think that that's kind of going to have some sort of an effect on the fintech industry as well, because major governments are very weary right now of the blockchain and the cryptocurrencies and how those things are going to affect their own currencies. So that's what we see, and we have to figure out ways of mitigating that risk.
So that's probably when I should jump in, right? Yeah, since I'm doing the crypto stuff.
There you go.
And I definitely agree that Latin America is going to be a huge growth market for fintech. I live in Latin America myself, and I have investments in fintech across Latin America. So I'm, big up to Latin America in a lot of ways. Brazil, et cetera, et cetera. But the crypto market or vertical is continues to be interesting and having sort of ups and downs. The market is basically, it's completely crashed since the big boom or whatever it was in 2017 or what have you. I personally have told people that I expect Bitcoin to continue to go lower for some time. I could be wrong, I have no idea, but that would be my bet. So one of the things that I'm interested in, or just trend-wise, is that I saw roughly 45 million people around the world have crypto wallets. So if you think about that, 45 million people is absolutely nothing. And after, quote, 10 years of the crypto space being out there, it's still, it's not that necessarily impressive, when you consider some of these other platforms that just have this great growth. But, one of the problems in crypto has always been, well, number one, is there any value or utility outside of just speculating and gambling? And number two, which is part of number one, is that a lot of the apps either have not existed or the user experiences have been just horrible, from, long passwords, just apps that don't work, blah, blah, blah. So I think what we're going to see over the next couple of years is that crypto experiences will become a lot more user-friendly. And I also think that, again, with only 45 million wallets existing today, we haven't even begun the crypto growth curve yet. Not at all. So I think we personally are in a good space, making a bet on crypto and trying to get our foot in the door for growth that, we expect to see, in the next 5 years. And so we're happy to be in that space. And, like other people have touched on, there are the politics involved of, cryptocurrencies versus fiat currencies versus governments, because crypto, originally came out, and I mean, the ethos of crypto is it's essentially a political revolution. It's a peaceful revolution utilizing currencies and not guns. And so, yeah, we're going to continue to see innovations in crypto, both on the improving the user experience side, but then, for example, I'm wearing a Monero shirt. So, we're going to see things in the privacy space as well, because that's going to continue to be a fight between the traditional, quote, financial players versus, that original ethos of privacy that crypto has. And I also think another interesting thing will be in regards to the unbanked. People like Uulala are coming out with their solutions, which are fantastic. But at the same time, we'll be seeing crypto take up that banner, so to speak, for the unbanked, because people can just download a crypto wallet, buy crypto online, or get it however they do it, and now they become members of the economy, so to speak. So that's sort of my view or take on things.
So you
let me add, if you don't mind, there's a couple of things with the crypto side of it that's really important for us, right, to banking the unbanked. The problem right now is still identity. And the blockchain crypto side of it can actually solve some of that identity issues, because right now with the refugee crisis going on, this is a man-made problem in Latin America, right? A war problem in the Middle East. But the scenario is when you leave your home with nothing to say that you are you, blockchain technology and crypto actually can help solve that problem, right? That identification of the individual. And yes, you can download a wallet. I think the problem is the misconception that you can just buy crypto, because you still need to buy it from someone, whether it's cash based on the street or you upload money to some kind of exchange and you buy it from the exchange. But I'm more excited on the identity side of things. On the crypto blockchain world, it has opened up smart contracts and what we call the instances of identity, the beginning of identity. Social Security is only good for the United States. What's good for the world? I do believe crypto and the blockchain world is going to solve that problem way before anybody else.
What do you guys think about, Julian kind of mentioned a little bit about the big banks. What do you think the future of big banks are? Anybody have any thoughts?
I think, if I can jump in, I think fundamentally big banks are not the big dinosaurs anymore. I think they're the misconception that 10 years ago that anybody, any fintech, small startup, mom and pop could come in and disrupt the industry. I think those days are over. Every big bank right now understands the challenges that they have, has been getting more nimble, has been innovating, has been thinking about different solutions, and I think they are getting somewhere. They still are not as nimble and fast and agile as smaller players, the newcomers, but I think if I could give advice to somebody who wanted to start a fintech company and had the mindset that the big banks are still the dinosaurs, I would tell them no. I think because they're in a much better, faster place now. That brings out a lot of opportunities, but it is also it's also another threat point that we have to understand in our industry to make sure that we are prepared to compete against them.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I can. Do you have something you want to say, Oscar? Yeah, I mean, I can riff on that topic as well.
Right.
I personally think the banks are fantastic. especially from an investment perspective. Like you look at the stock market, and there are a lot of the big banks like Citigroup, for example, it was trading at 9 times earnings just a couple months ago. A lot of the banks are around 10 to 12 PE ratios when the market is at a PE ratio of, let's say, 20. So the banks, in my opinion, are cheap and they're gushing cash. And now they've had multiple years of looking at fintechs and whatnot. And so, yeah, I totally agree with Hop that the banks are not to be quote trifled with. And but I also think that they're going to be great partners for a lot of fintechs out there, and they already are. But I think the banks are strong, and if you got a couple extra dollars, you might want to throw it into a bank ETF.
But I absolutely agree. Without the banking partnerships that we have, we can't perform some of the tasks that we do, right? We need cash in and cash out. And let's be honest, the banks control some of the biggest cash out locations out there with ATMs, with brick and mortar and whatnot. So, even though we did a TED Talk 2 months ago, at the EB, the European Union Banking Rehabilitation Bank, something like that. But I was with a bunch of bankers, and the one thing I said is that we have a symbiotic relationship, right? They're not as nimble as getting customer acquisition as good as we are, right? When we're concentrated on certain niches. We have a niche where, for instance, through the Vatican, we're going to be on 10 million smartphones. Banking relationships were already done with the Vatican a long time ago, but they couldn't get that deal. So what was the difference, right? But without our capabilities that the banking relationships that we have gave us, we couldn't perform as well. So I think it's a symbiotic relationship, but you have to come in with your value-driven proposition. What are you better at than the banks, right? Do you have a niche that they're not touching, that they don't know if they want to touch, right? They've been looking at crypto all this time. All of a sudden, they're coming up with their own blockchain, and some of them are coming up with their own cryptocurrencies. It's because they're watching those people who actually, boom, get out in the market and say, oh, we just captured 10 million users. I think you still can compete with the banks, but sooner or later, you're going to partner up with them. There's going to be a consolidation, but you want to be there when they consolidate because you might be one of those exits, that happens with them.
What do you guys think about some of the regulation involved within your sector? I know that's a big barrier to entry for a lot of techies that enter the fintech space, but in general, it's a pretty big barrier for a lot of businesses that are in the fintech space. Like, what do you guys think? What were some of the hurdles that you went through with your business?
Well, in our part, just because it's Mexico, they went in with a fintech law and they completely changed it within 60 days. So everybody was programming for 6 months on this very specific fintech law, and then within a 60-day window, the bankers came in and said, no more, you have to be a digital bank or a digital license, entity or a banking entity for you to have a wallet in Mexico. So you can imagine, we ended up buying into a brick and mortar bank and became their digital arm. PayPal pulled out of Mexico. So regulation is very important. If you don't know, we had someone that told us that was coming, so we started preparing for it before it hit, and we were able to meet the guidelines and the time frames. But if you're not in the know on the regulatory side of it, because laws are changing quick because of blockchain, because of other things, you will get squashed. You would spend $2 million, and all of a sudden you have no business, or you have to start all over again. So it's the most important thing for us.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody wants to get into fintech, my advice would be, you have to seek partnerships with larger players who can afford the compliance costs, because otherwise, depending on your own personal bank account, compliance is not something you want to be dealing with or can necessarily afford. So again, this goes back to partnering with banks, with existing financial and money transmitters or other who can help you get into the game. And if you can establish those partnerships, well, then you can do great things. But otherwise, it's sort of a fool's errand to try and do it yourself, and it will be something that comes with a great cost.
Yeah, I agree with you actually on that a lot. It's just to piggyback off of what you said. I think I think the notion that the barriers of entry are very high are good to sort of understand as one of the factors and variables of you starting out something from scratch. But I do think that it's probably an answer to the previous question. I think there's a lot of opportunity for startups to actually join and become that company that you partner with if you want to start other businesses. Mm-hmm. So I think compliance itself, outsourcing compliance, is just one of the ideas that we actually had that we were thinking about a year ago, but I don't think we're going to pursue that. It's a totally different line of business. But I think startup in compliance, solving problems for other startups is a big opportunity. But piggybacking off of everything else you guys said, I agree with you 100%.
And then what else do you guys think about like the cybersecurity area for the fintech space? Because I know there's data breaches going on almost every other day or whatnot. So has that affected you guys in any way on how you're structured, the security side?
Yeah, for us, it's partnerships, right? Amazon is one of our partners when it comes to the servers that we have, the mirroring sites that we have. It really makes you think of, PCI compliancy or the auditing compliancy on the banking side of it, which is SOC 1, SOC 2. You really have to stay on top of that, and you really have to make sure that you have a good partner that will walk you through that. We just ended an accelerator with the mentorships were done by PayPal and Venmo, and they were able to share some of their risk that they had in the space. Learning those things helps us, create things that we believe are more secure, right? So we're using multiple cloud systems, fragmenting data, and putting it up in our blockchain. So, but someone needs to think about all that, because if you're liable, if there's any credit card information, financial information, passwords, anything like that, you're liable. There's insurances that you can buy, so you got to be, insured up. But at the end of the day, one big PR that your data has been breached will ruin your business.
Exactly.
Yep.
I personally would like to see some changes in laws regarding various banking transactions, specifically ACH. Right now, the laws, in my opinion, and I'm no expert on this by any means, but just through my experience, the laws currently are very tilted in favor of the consumer and not the merchant. So I'm specifically talking about things like chargebacks, where a consumer can charge back things, I think up to 60 days. And this can create a lot of problems for merchants, who, let's say, receive cash, then pay their payroll or something, and they get a chargeback. So to me, that would help the fintech space a lot if there could be, so maybe just a review of that type of rules and regulations around specifically ACH transactions.
Nice. For us, we've just made sure that we partner up with the right company that has the best track record for making sure that their information is safe. My CTO, the head of our tech department, in essence, he gave me a nice rundown of all the stuff that he does that makes us more secure, but I have no idea what the hell he's talking about, so I'm just going to leave it at that. So, just make sure that you're protected.
All right, guys.
Hold your private keys. It's not your Bitcoin if you don't hold the keys.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for sharing with everyone. And then keep in mind, you guys all got some Ox Bio coins you could use for within the digital ad tech space, within the sales pipeline. I'll shoot you guys more details on that later on. But thanks a lot for joining the call and sharing with everyone. I think this definitely will help some of the up and coming new people that join the group in the LA area. So thanks a lot and have a great weekend.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Take care.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
You too. Merry Christmas.